So yeah, ladies, where do we begin? Like, did anybody have an idea that kind of popped of what meant the most to you guys in your chat even about dogs?
I could relate to Dorrit instantly when she talked about how she's been breeding dogs.
Oh yeah.
And it just got me into that space when I was a teenager. And I had said yes to an opportunity to work with a family. Now, this was my close friend.
Oh,
And
okay.
her
Oh,
family was raising her mom specifically. Her dad was a police officer and her mom was into breeding dogs.
Okay.
And she bred three different breeds, Dachshunds, Great Danes, and Rottweilers.
Oh my.
Whenever I went to my friend's house, there was always a Great Dane, a little wiener dog.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Right? And a big Rottweiler. Right?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And even walking into the home, I was greeted. I really had to be a safe space for those animals to allow me to come into their home and to spend my weekend with them. So the deal was occasionally her mom would go across Canada showing the dogs.
Okay.
And whenever she did that, her kids, her teenagers wanted nothing to do with looking after the numerous dogs they had that they would show and breed for competition, but also to sell as pets. And they had an extension built on, separately from the home, with kennels for the dogs. Okay. So yes, whenever mom left, that meant someone needed to water and feed and play with the dogs.
Right.
So mom asked me if I would be interested to do that on the weekends. And the only caveat was that I had to get up at 5:30 in the morning to feed the animals, to clean out their kennels and reset everything. And you know what? I did it. I loved it. It was a win-win for me. I got to spend time with my friend, and even mom was out of town. Now dad was a cop, so we knew better. They could leave us at home without too much problems. But that's yes, awesome. They trusted us, and I had a great weekend. And I would always offer whenever they went out of town. And I also got to snuggle puppies, and Dorrit and I would share stories about how she's bred, and she's got all these puppies and that puppy scent and puppy breath and all that stuff that comes along with newborns.
Newborns. Oh yeah. So Dorrit, you breed puppies. Like she always says, I make puppies in my basement. And you show dogs too, which is awesome. And you're just into the one breed, right?
Yeah. I've focused on Basenji breed, but I have bred other breeds before.
Okay.
But the past 12 years, it's been Basenjis only. Yeah.
And that's an interesting breed because it's not an inbred breed. It's very pure, right?
That's one of the originals. Yeah.
Yeah, and even they had them in the zoos.
Yes, up until 1936, they had them in the Berlin Zoo, especially in Germany. So they're quite different than other dogs because they have a lot of the original instincts still there. So we call it a national treasure because it's not a breed for everyone, but if you fall for them, you fall hard. So yeah, it's an amazing breed, and I've learned a lot from having them because they communicate differently than other dogs. Like we call them normal dogs, because when I first got into Basenjis 15 years ago, someone told me, if it ain't a Basenji, it's just a dog. And I was like, oh, that's rude. I mean,
that's rather snooty of them.
Yeah, because I mean, dogs are beautiful and wonderful and yeah, but I can kind of understand what they mean because there's so many differences that makes this breed unique. So I understand what they mean about that. Basenjis are like, you have a dog, well, it looks like a dog, but it acts like a cat. It runs like a Arabian horse, and it eats grass like a sheep, and it acts it behaves like a monkey, and and it communicates like a 4-year-old. So we have the whole package, It's
amazing.
It's like raising
challenging
teenagers.
Yeah.
Right? It reminds me of Shih Tzus, though. I mean, because those are not dogs. They are cats, right? The Shih Tzu dog is a cat. They are on the cat level. They're on such a low stem of their brain stem, the more, boy, if they get scared, they'll lock that in hard for the rest of their lives. Like, I always say, okay, dogs are more like Down syndrome and Shih Tzus are more like autism when it comes to the level of the brain that they're functioning on. Like, wow.
Well, and I spent a lot of time with labs, actually. In my married life, I had a black lab and a yellow lab. And the common phrase around labs is that they don't grow a brain until they're 2. So they make great pets, and they also need to be trained.
Yeah, they're very cognitive, and they're so sweet.
Oh, I love their temperaments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I miss my guy for sure.
Oh.
We just put him down in 2017.
Oh, you did? Yeah, that's when we lost our twin to our Gracie Grace. Yeah.
And so, Dorrit, how old is your dog, right? Or how many do you have right now? I know you have a couple.
Yeah, I only have 2 living with us. And the oldest one is 9 years old, and the youngest one is 3 years old today, in fact. It's their birthday.
Happy
So
birthday.
they are being spoiled rotten. And
what does that mean?
Well,
fresh
here it means not the kibbles today. It means just the best, It's meat cakes and all the good stuff. Raw egg and raw meat and whatever I know they fancy. So especially the little one, because she is expecting puppies in 2 weeks. So
that's right.
So she's always very hungry now.
Yeah.
So
how has she been doing?
Oh, she's been doing great. She's been doing great. Yeah. So I'm so excited to see what
that's great to hear.
Carrying. Yeah. Absolutely. No, I own, let me think. I own 9 dogs.
Today.
Yeah.
That's going to change soon.
Well, yeah, I tend to keep from the litters to have something to breed on, if keep the best in the litter to continue the lines and stuff. That's important to me. So.
I love your Christmas, just like Jen, I love her Christmas story where they all go grab a puppy. She has 5 kids, right? And they're grown, and they come home and each grab a puppy, and that's how they spend their Christmas together.
Just go down and
puppies for Christmas.
Yeah. And they come up and they sit with the puppy here and just like this and watch telly or talk or something. And then they go and swap if we have many. The most we've had one time is 13 puppies.
Oh my gosh.
That was 2 litters born with 6 days apart. So yeah, then everyone needs to have 30 minutes every day of human touch to develop that bonding with the human. Yeah, so it's really important, and if I were to do that alone, that wouldn't be possible. I couldn't.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, half an hour per pup, 13 pups.
That's insane. Yeah. And same with Shih Tzus. Like the most important part of their bonding is to be working their feet, because they're real averse to having their feet touched, and they'll if you're not working the feet, you'll end up with a biter. Yeah. It's just
so we do that too. We pull and push, we touch them everywhere and flip them around and cuddle them, and they are trained to be handled. So when our puppy buyers get them, they can handle them without having a puppy that is scared or aggressive or anything. And they're trained to stay on a table and be handled on the table. That's both for the dog shows, because they're shown on the table, and also for the veterinarian, that they are secure to stand on a table to be examined and watched. So it's
all the things.
It's a lot of work.
It sure
all
is.
the details of it. You start to say, Jen.
Well, I am just being transported back to my early youth. And, you know, after watching or being with this family for some years, watching their dogs, my good friend also got me a job with her at a local veterinary clinic. And the clinic had the vet on one side and the dog groomer on the other. So if it wasn't busy on the veterinary side, I went over to the dog groomer side and learned how to manage a lot of different breeds and how to get, grooming is a whole other ball of wax.
Isn't it? Oh, man.
Right?
That's nothing for me.
Yeah. So just bringing me right back.
Yeah.
Nice. You don't have any hairs to clip though, do you, Dorrit, on your dog?
No, they are short haired and they don't have this undercoat, so it's really simple to maintenance, and they don't have that dog smell that normal dog breeds have, and they only shed a little bit in the springtime and a little bit at fall. So there's not much shedding either, and if we paint them, they're like dry in 5 minutes. So
nice.
Yeah. But since I'm a hairdresser by education, everyone said, "Oh, but you should be a dog groomer. You know how to manage hair." But I'm like, nah, it's not the same.
It sure isn't.
I want to cuddle and sniff. I don't want to clip.
Yeah.
And usually when you cut someone's hair, they're not trying to bite you. So
and there's that,
that's the difference with dogs, especially when you want to get near their feet and trim their feet, and if they haven't been used to that, right?
So Jen, when you named those 3 breeds, I don't know, what did you say, the big?
A Rottweiler,
I got that one.
Great Dane.
I don't know. Yeah, and the Dachshunds. I don't know much about Great Danes, like zero. They're really big. And
that's true.
Rottweiler, when I hear that breed, I don't know if you guys know the children's book Good Dog Carl.
No.
That one? Oh my gosh. It's a Rottweiler, and it's babysitting. The parents leave and the Rottweiler's babysitting. And the baby's in a crib, and they have one amazing adventure. And then when mom and dad get back home, everything's all settled in, and the dog's right there by the crib. It's all good.
That sounds like a great story. I'll have to read that.
There's probably more than one Good Dog Carl.
Probably a series.
I think it is at this point. They're so cute. And then my story about Doxies is my grandmother bred a Chihuahua and a Doxie, and well, who knows if she actually really did, but she ended up having puppies like that, right? And my family had moved out to the state of Washington from Minnesota, and it was my birthday, and I remember being woken up, it seemed like in the middle of the night, and I think it was still dark out though, and there was a picnic basket placed on my lap. I was asked to sit up, and there was this big picnic basket, with the lid that, the lids that lift that way, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so and there were holes on the picnic basket, and there was like duct tape around all the holes, and to pad them so they weren't dangerous, right? Okay.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. And so I look in there, and then I look like this back up at my parents, like, what? And they're like, oh, and they turned the basket around, right? So lifted the other lid, and there was this little puppy going like this. It had come all the way to the state of Washington all by itself on a train.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
And that was my very first dog, and his name was Snitzer. And Snitzer Doodle and Snitzer Allen. So you guys always hear me say Yepper Doodle. That must be where that comes from. I just thought of that. And it would bite on a toy, and it wouldn't let go. And of course we did the horrendous thing of twirling, you know, like
Yes.
circling, and the poor dog. And yeah, that wasn't real good for his teeth.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
And I remember that, I believe it was like when my mom ended up putting him down when he was, I don't know, he something was really wrong, and he's older. And I remember coming home from school and being told, and all I did was laugh, you know. So talk about neurological overflow. And I'm a thinker, not a feeler, you know. So I just laughed. Like, I didn't know what else to do. It was the weirdest moment, right? And my mom was good about just like whatever my reaction was, you know. And then we talked. But yeah, that was really interesting. But that was a easy small dog to like put dress up clothes. I put the dog clothes on and stuff. It was a fun dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, and I even think back to with my first black lab, we took that puppy to puppy classes.
Oh, okay.
That was interesting.
Was it?
Also, well, what was really interesting too is well, really the outside world and their thoughts about training a dog and kenneling a dog and what you should feed a dog. And I noticed that going to puppy class, well, it was something that my spouse at the time and I wanted to get right. The dog was going to be home during the day.
Oh, yeah.
And so we wanted the dog kennel trained. And we just wanted to learn what are some things we can do to alleviate the chewing, to alleviate bad behavior in dogs. So we went through like an 8-week course, and oh wow, we've seen some dogs that, you know, you think your own dog is maybe unmanageable until you get into other dogs and see, holy crap.
It was like that with kids, right, Dorrit?
Right? Yeah.
Wow.
And I think too that certainly what you feed your dog, there's a lot of controversy out there about whether you should feed your dog meat or whether you should feed your dog dry food or table food even. And the way that I chose to raise that particular dog was kind of by the book, if you will. And we got a lot of flack from other people. Why do you kennel your dog? It's cruel to put your dog in a kennel. Why don't you let your dog run free without a leash? Why don't you feed your dog table food? And really, we were often at a cottage on the weekends, and there was a number of people around, and people were always trying to sneak our dog table food because they thought we were cruel by not feeding our dog table food. And yet there's complications from table food.
For sure.
So, and also I just feel like I'm not damaging my dog by feeding my dog food and keeping him a healthy weight.
Hey, I used to eat it.
Didn't we all try it?
Oh, it was so good.
Sometimes the canned wet food they make for dogs or cats, just when you open it, right? It's like, it smells, it's got an aroma to it.
It does. I got a good story on that one though.
Oh, good.
My mom and my brother were left home alone. And her brother, my mom and her brother, and she had said, Mom, to her brother, Mom made frosting. And she left the spoon for us, a spoon each for us. So he goes in the kitchen, he grabs the spoon. It was the dog food spoon, the soft canned dog food.
Shoot.
And he wanted to kill her. You totally blamed her for that one. That was a trick. Well, he is the one that he put a doorbell on the outside of his room, and she had to go clean his room. That was part of her chores, cleaning the bedroom. And he put a doorbell with a pin. So when you pushed the doorbell to ring the doorbell, you got poked by the pin. So she figured out to take her fingernail and push the doorbell and go, ouch. And then he'd let her in. So there was this constant, sibling rivalry anyways. That one really took the cake. And he was like 3 years older too. So He can
Oh,
get his goat every time.
every time.
Yeah, man.
Creative.
Very. So Dorrit,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about your life of puppies and showing
Oh,
dogs too.
my life of puppies actually started all the way back in 1980. I grew up the youngest of 3 children. So when I was growing up, both my sister and my brother were 10 and 11 years older than me. So they had already started their adult lives. I mean, my brother was away in the army. My sister had a boyfriend, was away all the time. She got married when she was 18. So I was 8.
Okay.
And moved to live with him, and they had kid and everything. And you know, so I was kind of raised as an only child from there on, and I was lonely, I was bored, and there wasn't many people kids to play with around where I lived. So I was always very fond of animals, and we had cats and fish tanks and hamsters and you name it. I tried it all. But I really wanted a horse, but my parents wouldn't let me have a horse. And I kind of realized that when I was around 8, 9, that I would not get a horse. So I switched to dog with the bigger hope that someday. And it happened to, there is, she's still there. So there, next to my parents' house, about, I don't know, a couple of miles from my parents' house, there lived a lady. She was alone, no kids, no husband, but she had 20 dogs plus. Yeah. And she was breeding dogs and traveling around on dog shows and very successfully so. She exported dogs to other countries. She has the most winning of her breed in Scandinavia. And so she was really good. That was her life, kind of. She worked besides her dog breeding, and when she traveled, she needed someone to take care of them. So from I was 10 years old, I started visiting her every day, helping her with the dogs. We went for walks. We when I got a little bit more experienced, we went on bike rides with them, especially the corgis.
I love corgis.
Yeah, there was
dogs.
Oh yes, she had Pembrokes and she had a Norwegian Bullhound, which looks like a corgi but with longer legs, and they're white.
Love a corgi.
So that was the 2 breeds that I was raised with, so to speak. And she had several litters every year, and she always needed help. And I was happy to help.
Yeah, right. Just like Jennifer.
It was right next to us, so I could just jump on my bike and go to her every day, you know. And sometimes I got to go with her to dog shows and learn the handling with her. We had something called Child and Dog, where we could go in and train. So we wouldn't be showing the dog in the ordinary dog show classes, but it would be more a judgment of how we were communicating with the dog and how we were showing the dog.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
How beautiful to have a mentor from such a young age, Dorrit.
Yeah.
That was great.
So that's how I got into everything, learning from that, you know, competing in those classes from, I think it was, well, I don't remember the age classes, but we could start when we were really young, like 8. And then when we turned 16, we had to go over to the adult classes. So I was competing there until that time. And then I got out to the adult classes. But I was showing in the adult as well, because I knew how, and she needed help. Sometimes when you win the best male, for instance, and the best female, you need someone to take in both dogs so they can compete about the best in the breed.
Oh, I see. How cool is that?
So yeah, I got to try it out that way, and that was a really great way to grow up in a way. You know, it was an amazing hobby to have. I got to travel a lot, meet a lot of people, and learned a lot about dogs and how to treat them and everything. And since she had so many dogs, she couldn't do everything by herself. So she would pay for me to go to like obedience class, puppy classes with some of her new dogs, or if she got something in like back. For instance, there was someone that had bought a dog from her that was a couple of years old, been living on a farm, and the owner died. So instead of rehoming it, she took it back to her place, but she needed to train it because it had been living on the farm, just running around free and couldn't walk on a lead or anything like that. So I got the job of going to the obedience class to try to train it into a little bit of, you know.
Able to take commands and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of a book called Until Tuesday?
No.
Okay, it's a beautiful, is it golden retriever? I always forget. There's a beautiful dog on the cover, and it has dog tags hanging from its mouth. And
you see the princess?
Hi, princess.
Hi, Beth.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, she's adorable.
It's the hungry one.
The hungry one. Get the big belly there, baby.
Oh, here she comes.
Have a big belly.
Oh. Hi. Oh my gosh, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
She's beautiful.
Oh, look at that.
Gracie.
Look at the puppy, Grace.
Hi, Gracie.
Dorrit's got her puppy.
Dorrit puppy.
She's beautiful. I love her markings.
See your face, honey?
Yeah, I love the bird. Hi.
Gracie.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And she's 3, right, Dorrit?
Yeah, she's 3 years old today. And she has
can't get over the
this
markings.
big belly.
Oh, there it is. All ready to feed them babies.
Yeah.
Aw, that's so cute.
What size of litter do you anticipate her having?
I really don't know.
No.
4 or 5 puppies, perhaps.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is her first litter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay, well, that's super exciting.
Yeah.
And just around Christmas.
I know.
I don't think it gets much better than that.
Puppies for Christmas. How fun is that?
Now, do you intend to show any of these dogs, Dorrit, that she's pregnant with? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I keep them, some of them I keep, and I can't have them here in the house because it gets too much. My husband says.
Husband,
I don't know.
Our boundaries. Thank you so much, husbands. We love our boundaries.
Yeah. So, but if they live with co-owners, where I'm the owner, registered on paper, and I got the right to breed them and show them. So co-owners, they train them, they have them like their own little darling, and I just borrow them for dog shows, and I get to breed them and have 2 litters, usually 2 litters. Yeah.
Okay.
First litter when they're 3, usually. So yeah, I go to dog shows, but I not as much now as I did before.
Right.
I prefer to train my co-owners to do it instead.
Yes.
What is this?
Outsourcing.
Yes, delegating. Very good, Dorrit. Very good.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies. This has been wonderful. It's so fun to get to know each of you better and have one of those genuine. Thank you. One of those genuine conversations.
Yes, it was great to connect with both of you and learn more about our fascination with dogs.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It definitely seeps into our whole way of life here. I mean, my mother always said when I started having kids, I was 21 when I had my first one, and she said, "You're raising him like you're raising your dogs," because she thought I was kind of strict and concise and praising him when he did something good. It was like, no. And I was like, yeah, good, wow. I was all there because that was the way I knew how to behave.
Sure.
That was what we did with the puppies and stuff. So it was natural for me to do that with.
That's cool, though.
Yeah.
But he turned out really well.
He turned out really well. So
and he has 2 dogs for himself and a boy.
Oh my gosh.
He's doing the same thing. Well, he's giggling kind of and saying, "Mom, I think you ruined me."
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
because now he
Developmentally,
wants
it's important.
dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and he has a Basenji like this,
Oh.
same color and everything like this one, but
Of course he
that's 6
does.
years old now.
Of course he does.
And they even call her Kira is her name. They call Kira Adrian's big sister.
Yeah.
So
We've
so
got that
they're
here too.
yeah. Mm.
Wow.
So Doxy's family members here, absolutely, and
Yeah.
yeah, we
And
learn
that's
a
so
lot from them.
special that your son is now breeding a similar dog.
Mm,
That's so
yeah.
awesome. He really he saw growing up.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
and it's like you said with your friend and
Mhm.
that they didn't want to do all the chores with the
Right.
dogs when the mom was traveling. We had a lot of that, the same thing here, because when they have to do it, it's work.
Yes.
But now they get to do it. They get to choose for themselves. So now they want to.
Have to versus get to? Is that what the word
Yeah.
just said?
Well, aren't we full circle here?
Yeah. It's a good one, ladies. All right. So thanks again, everybody.
So great to spend time with you today. Chat
Thank
again.
you. I loved it.
Bye.
Bye.